control. Twists and turns gonna take
Okay,
its toll.
so we are here. This is episode 15, Eric. We're already at 15. We've covered quite a bit of stuff from horror movies to pro wrestling to the year 1984. We're branching out. We're covering all kinds of stuff, and but we're back at wrestling again, the WrestleMania, since we're kind of in WrestleMania season. So I am Geno McGahee. I am your co-host. I am here with my friend, my co-host, my brother, Eric Michaelian. Eric, welcome back.
Ah, thanks, brother. It's WrestleMania season. Oh,
And we are looking
now
at
that
two.
I've seen the most current WrestleMania, and Jesus Christ, did you watch it?
I did not watch it. I watched the main event. I was able to catch the main event with Cena and Cody, and I'm kind of like, if I see a crossroads, then it's a winner, and that's how I look at it. Like, people will ask me how good WrestleMania was this past weekend or so. I'll say, hey, at the crossroads, I give it 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, I'm glad the bar was set that low for you.
it,
Oh,
I,
oh.
I heard overall it was not the best of WrestleManias.
No, it wasn't. The exception of like Punk, Rollins, Roman, which was a really good match, and oh Jesus, is that it? I think that was it. That's all I
Ouch.
enjoyed because the main event, John Cena versus Cody, was terrible, with a guy taking his sweet fucking time walking down the ramp and challenging Cody Rhodes to a fight, a guy who weighs 98 pounds. Yeah, all right. Just killed the momentum. It was a terrible, terrible main event. And it seems like everybody agrees with me. So, oh, what a letdown. But thank God we have WrestleMania 13 to look forward to.
Well, we're doing WrestleMania 3, which may be the granddaddy of them all, and WrestleMania 13, which, in my opinion, not to give away any spoilers, left a lot to be desired. Um, but so, Eric, what was your first WrestleMania that you watched, and what thoughts did you have about that WrestleMania? Was it? It obviously wasn't the first because you were just a little baby. What was it?
The first WrestleMania I probably saw was, oh, I want to say like, well, the first one I saw live was WrestleMania 13. It was the first pay-per-view I was like allowed to purchase, and I was really excited for Bret and Stone Cold.
Yes.
And then watching it, I was like, oh God, can we get to Bret and Stone Cold now? Because this is terrible. But I
Oh
mean,
my.
if you were watching wrestling at the time, it was pretty good. If you were invested in these characters, it was pretty good. But looking back now, you're just like, damn, out of context, all this looks terrible.
Wow.
What about, was Mania 3 your first?
It was. And
So
I
you got
went
like a
to.
special nostalgic feel for it.
I do. I actually had a buddy and his dad invited me to go to the Springfield Civic Center to watch
Mm.
a closed circuit big screen. And it was so awesome to see it that way because at that time the only way I got information was in the schoolyard, right? So
Mm.
I would see on Saturday mornings, we didn't have cable, but there was a channel that would show like whatever Superstars was at the time. So I'd get
Yeah.
little tidbits of information, or like Saturday night's main event I could watch because that was on NBC. But overall,
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't get a lot until I went to go see WrestleMania 3 at the Civic Center when I was 13 years old, and boy oh boy, what an event it was, and uh, how amazing it was. But what brought us there was 1984. Vinnie Mac, um, the boss, he ended up making WrestleMania, and it was a hit. And it was at that point, it was a basic do or die. If WrestleMania doesn't do something, boom, he might be out of the game. And that led to WrestleMania 2. And briefly, tell us about WrestleMania 2.
WrestleMania 2 was actually pretty ambitious for the time. It took place in, I think it was New York, Chicago, and LA. all simultaneously. Each one had, I think, I want to say like 4 matches that made it to air on closed circuit TV. When was pay-per-view? When did pay-per-view start coming into it? It was
Uh,
probably around Mania
Alright.
3.
I want to say the first pay-per-view was Survivor Series '88, I think.
Okay.
You can quote me on it, or don't quote me on it, but I think that's what it was.
So I thought it was actually pretty cool because it was taking place in 3 different locations. At like, and it would be like, they would do the New York show, and then that sort of would end, and then it would go to Chicago, and then it would go to LA. And I mean, unfortunately, the matches and the event itself didn't live up to the ambition of like what Vince was trying to do. But it did well enough to warrant a sequel, and so we got WrestleMania 3
And
from
WrestleMania
the
3, oh, go ahead, Pontiac Silverdome, right?
from the Pontiac Silverdome. 93,100 and what was it? 173 people
Yes.
is what they told us was at this event. It was
Still,
actually after ticket sales. It was after they tallied all the ticket sales. It was roughly 78,000, which is still really good.
people wanted to see this, and this was really the best idea because I'm not sure if you knew this, but the original opponent for Hogan at WrestleMania 3 was supposed to be Paul Orndorff, and it obviously did not materialize. But they kept him as a standby in case Andre wasn't physically fit for the match because
Mm.
that was a big concern for them at the time that Andre would not be physically right for the match. But they put him in a girdle and they set up the match. And this is they caught a little bit of magic here because you had Andre, you knew his motives. And back in the day, there weren't a lot of motives. It was good guy, bad guy. And in this, Andre was Hogan's friend. Andre was given an award, and Hogan came out and tried to steal his limelight. That's where this all came from. Andre was sick and tired of Hogan taking the limelight and also never offering him a title shot. What did you think of the setup going into WrestleMania 3 of the Andre Hulk match?
I thought it was really interesting. The recap that's on the WWE Peacock section didn't really go into like the change from Andre and Hogan to being friends to Andre hating Hogan. It had something to do with like Andre got a trophy for being undefeated for 15 years, and then Hulk Hogan got a trophy for being WWE champion for 3 years. And I
Uh-huh.
guess Hogan's trophy was bigger, and Andre was really upset by it. Although I don't know why you need a trophy if you have the belt. But yeah, Andre got upset, and then
Yep.
he confronted him on Piper's Pit, and he challenged him to the title match at WrestleMania 3, and the rest is history.
Did you like how Hogan
Ripping the shirt right off of Hogan's back, and the cross right from his neck.
he did? Now, did you like the way Hogan agreed to the match by just Yes! Man, that
Yeah.
made people happy.
Yeah. And Piper, who is doing the interview, is just really good at hyping people up and like getting people like getting their energy up. And I think that's part of the reason why Hogan did it. He's like, "Are you gonna challenge? Are you gonna challenge Andre? Are you gonna challenge Andre?" And Hogan's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you also had Bobby Heenan and Jesse Ventura in that segment. And how do you get better than that? I mean that's just cooking with grease right there, man.
Yeah, I
It,
mean Jesse is to me the hero of WrestleMania 3.
oh, he is. He's awesome. And so
He dragged a lot of matches into Entertainment Zone because of his commentary.
his commentary is probably one of the best in history. And anytime he has the microphone, like when him and Piper were confronting the Hillbillies in I think it was Saturday Night's Main Event, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are real smart," and they push over cousin Luke. It was just fucking funny. And Jesse Ventura, had he not got injured, could have been a much bigger star in pro wrestling. And had he not crossed Hogan too, that probably would have been a good idea.
Oh yeah, never unionize under Hulk Hogan. Like that's the takeaway from that.
Yep, you don't do that, brother. Uh, Now we're looking at WrestleMania 3. What an impressive, even to this day, intro with the three coming across the WrestleMania and the 80s style music playing, leading to Vince standing in the ring and looking at this crowd and realizing, holy shit, look what I did. From WWF, house shows, small turnouts, to now this. Even WrestleMania was a glorified house show. This was an event. How do you think Vince felt looking at this audience, realizing I just did this? It had to be a feeling of just like amazement, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, he looked overwhelmed. Like, and I think like a lot of people try to recreate that moment. Like,
Yeah.
like I think Paul Heyman tries to recreate that moment in some ECW shows. It's just like you can't really. The look that Vince has in his face is just like the the breadth of his domain and just all of these people surrounding him. He looks overwhelmed. And you can hear it in his voice when he just like says like, "Welcome to WrestleMania 3."
Oh my God.
Like
It's
looks around.
amazing.
It almost looks like he was about to cry.
I would. I mean, it has
Yeah.
because it's for him. It's a realization of a dream. He took the company that was regional, that was basically just chugging along at a regular regional rate, and he took advantage of MTV, he took advantage of cable, and now he had Andre the Giant, 15 years reportedly undefeated, against the biggest star in pro wrestling, Hogan. Former friends, now enemies, Bobby Heenan involved. This was an event, and each story on the card has a backstory for the most part. They really put their thoughts into this, and this is what they're missing today. There's too many pay-per-view events. They should consolidate for a year like they used to. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you might have to walk us through some of the backstories for these because I was kind of coming in cold.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, it was certainly impressive.
It was, and we start with Tom Zink and Rick Martel, the newly formed Can-Am connection, and against Cowboy Bob Orton and Morocco. Now Morocco, I'm a big fan of Don Morocco. I don't know if you know this, but him and Mr. Fuji did a an ongoing skit called Fuji Vice, which was based on Miami Vice. Have you seen those?
No.
They're so funny where Don Morocco and Mr. Fuji are detectives and Don Morocco dresses like Don Johnson and they solve murders. It's so ridiculous. It's so badly acted that you gotta love it. And Morocco, I really wish he stayed heel and was a top heel because any in these promos he would do, I'd always laugh because someone would say something and he'd be like, "Don't get cute with me," and I love that phrase and the way he delivers it's so funny. But they kind of put Morocco and Cowboy together because they had nothing else to do. They were both talents,
Yeah.
but they had no feuds at the time and they needed and the Can-Am connection were new and young, and they needed a team to make the Can-Am connection look impressive, and they did. What did you think of this match, and what do you think of the Can-Am connection?
I thought they were actually really good. Martello is really impressive, and I think I've only really known him as the model,
Yes.
and he wanted to do Strike Force with Tito, but like
Yep.
I've really only known him as kind of a heel. But he had this like great like energy, great baby face fire. He was just like like throwing his arms around and just being like, "Hell yeah, I'm doing this,"
Yes.
And Tom Zenk, I don't really know anything about him, but Like their tag team work was very impressive. Yeah, they were they did a lot of cross bodies, lots of that going on. They did a lot of double team moves where they would whip Morocco and Bob Orton into each other, and then they would sort of just like collide, and then he didn't accidentally Morocco back body drops his own partner, which was really funny.
Yes.
And then Zenk comes up behind and trips. I think it was Bob Orton, and then Martel gets the victory. And yeah, just like a really good opener. Like Can-Am Connections got a lot of great energy to them. They really like pepped the crowd up. I mean, this crowd was basically down for anything really, but they really just like got everybody to that level of excitement for what was to come.
Yeah, Tom Zink,
I love the Can-Am Connection. It was great.
they were good. Tom Zink had issues. And maybe they like when I say issues, he had issues with management in every corporation that he went to. But you would figure maybe with the way like pro wrestlers at this point were like sexually harassed by management in the WWF, that being such a handsome guy, maybe that was part of it. I don't know if it was. I'm just speculating. And he left on really bad terms, so much so that Rick Martel came out on a Superstars episode to say that Tom Zink was a coward and ran away. And obviously he was put up to that. And because something happened behind the curtains. And Rick Martel, former AWA champion, uh, came into WWF, which was overcrowded, I suppose, but he was a great babyface. He could have easily been a world champion there, but it was crowded at the top, so they kept him in tag team, and eventually he would tag with Tito Santana and for Strike Force, which was a fantastic group. Um,
Yeah,
but uh,
absolutely.
anyway, Can-Am was good. They won. Great match, and I love the outdoor arena. The outdoor arena, you get so much more from. What do you think of outdoor shows? Aren't they better than like indoor arenas? Wouldn't you say?
I would say like visually yes, but in terms of like 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 auditory, like if you have an open field, like the
Yeah,
sound kind of just goes out into the ether, whereas if you have sort of a closed thing, it like the crowd noise is just overwhelming, especially like I mean if you think of like WrestleMania X7, how loud that crowd was because it was like an indoor arena, but like not
yes,
as impressive looking as the Pontiac Silverdome, or even like Safeco Field they did. I think it was 19 they did at Safeco.
yep,
And yeah, but for the visual, I always go open air.
yeah, dude, yeah. I go the same way. I love it. I love it for boxing. I love it for wrestling. It's a great feel. Now we go to Billy Jack Haynes and Hercules. Now, the backstory here is that they are having a dispute over who does the full Nelson the best, which is just, it's a real lazy wrestling thing. You see it a lot where they just, for some reason, two wrestlers like Sid and Vader had it too, where I do the power bomb better. No, I do. It makes no sense for a feud, but Billy Jack Haynes and Hercules get the most out of it. They have a big hoss fight, clothesline after clothesline, and these guys, you can tell they're not holding back here. These guys are literally hitting each other with all their might. And this is what I like about wrestling. This is what we're missing today. I always talk about the flippy dippy fucking spot monkey bullshit. I like the where it looks legit, where it feels believable, rather than like I I I don't know what his name is. But he's in AEW where he jumps from rope to rope to rope and does a big backflip. I'm like, keep that bullshit. This was good. This
That could
was
literally be anybody in AEW.
well. We'll use the Young Bucks or
All right, yeah, Young Bucks, that
y-
works.
and but now we have like Billy Jack Haynes and Hercules, and they're like really duking it out. What did you think of this match? What did you think of the brutality with the chain on the fist?
I liked it. That's just like a weird thing that I saw. Billy Jack Haynes just had the word Oregon on his boots. It's like, yeah, all right, that's the state that I'm from, guys.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
it was kind of weird because they didn't have any entrance music, which is to me is just so strange. Like coming from this day and age, like everybody's got a theme, you know. But yeah, I love like these two just massive guys. And as I was watching, I was like, Jesus Christ, there's like just huge slabs of meat coming at each other, you know.
Yes. And
Um,
they would go in
Billy
different
Jack,
directions. Like
yeah,
you have Hercules that would move on, stick with the company, and Billy Jack Haynes burned every bridge that he's ever crossed.
it's too. I liked him in this match. He was pretty good babyface. Um, but then so eventually they get the full Nelson setup, but Hercules doesn't have it quite all the way on, and Billy Jack hulks up, and then he puts the full Nelson on Hercules, and then they get a double count out,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then Hercules takes the chain, wraps his fist, and busts Billy Jack Haynes wide open. Although in the slow motion, I don't know if you caught it, but in slow motion you can see Billy Jack blade.
Oh yeah, big
He
time.
just like it kind of boop. It's like you couldn't have waited like you just wait 2 seconds, you know. But yeah, a good match, good big muscly dudes just like throwing each other around. Loved it.
Yeah, me too. And
What happened to Billy Jack?
Billy Jack, he's in prison right now for killing his wife, but
Oh fuck.
it just happened recently. It happened like last year. But before that, he was challenging Stone Cold to a UFC fight. He said that he witnessed a bunch of murders. He said that he was a drug trafficker. He said that he killed someone, I think. He was on TMZ on a monthly basis with Madness, and he just really, really was fucked up. Like I think drugs basically made the rest of his life. And where Hercules went on to Power and Glory, one of the most underrated tag teams ever, next to Chronic, and he also had a few matches with Hogan and the Warrior. He was always a usable guy. So yeah, he went up. Billy Jack went down, leading us to what I believe might be one of your favorite matches of the night and mine.
Mm.
Hillbilly Jim, Little Beaver, and the Haiti Kid against King Kong Bundy, one of my favorite little people, Lord Littlebrook, and Little Tokyo. Now, this was a mixed tag team match, meaning that only Bundy and Hillbilly Jim could be in the ring at the same time, and only the little people could be in the ring at the same time. So there's no. So, in other words, King Kong Bundy was not allowed to squish a little person. Correct?
Basically.
What you think of it? You like Hillbilly Jim? You like don't go messing with a country boy? Is it
Yeah, I
catchy?
did. I did. I love Hillbilly Jim, and King Kong Bundy he's all right. Like I mean, he looks like a shaved testicle, but like
Yep.
he's a pretty like big imposing guy. I thought that Tokyo and Haiti had a really good exchange, and then Beaver and Little Brook came in, and they were just kind of slowed things down a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay. And then finally Bundy and Jim get in the ring, and then the the little beaver keeps like coming in and interfering and like taunting Bundy.
Yep.
And then Bundy just picks him up and slams him and then it's like drops a giant elbow on him. You're like, fuck. I mean, I felt sorry for the two, but it's also like, don't go after him. Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
Yeah,
Ugh.
I loved it. And Little Beaver, fuck Little Beaver, he's a fucking asshole. He's the one that started with Bundy. He kept poking the bear with a stick, and then finally the bear growled at him, and Bundy should have never been disqualified. The referee saw Little Beaver go in there and bite
Mhm.
Bundy in the ass and kick
Yep.
him and stuff. And yeah, Bundy had every right. And I did love the visual of Hillbilly Jim holding the completely like decompressed fucking little beaver in his hands. Loved it, and I even loved the little hint in the interview when Hillbilly Jim goes, "I'm not gonna let any King Kong Bundy hurt my little friends," and I'm like, "Yep, okay, we know what we're getting." Um, great, great
Yeah,
stuff.
but
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
the only problem I have with these matches, at least back then, was like they treated little people like they were children. And it's like these are grown ass men. Like, it's like they're not
Yeah.
kids. Like, don't pick them up. Like, Hillbilly Jim. Like, don't pick them up and be like, my Cabbage Patch partners.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
and they
Jesus.
they both smiled like Katie Kid and Lil Beaver. They smiled when Hillbilly
Oh
picked them up like kids.
God.
I love it. And also when Hogan.
I don't want to ascribe feelings to them or anything like that, or pretend I knew how they felt, but it was just like, can you imagine just like looking at him like, yo, I'm 34 years old. Like, yeah, I'm 40, my man. Like Hillbilly Jim's picking us up like we were babies. Thanks.
Well, look at it this way though. Hillbilly Jim had to play Hillbilly Jim, So in the Hillbilly character, he wasn't considered an incredibly bright guy. So
Yeah.
all he was a hillbilly that was a Hogan fan, and Hogan called him to the ring, and so then he became a wrestler, and then he hung around with little people and had a feud with Bundy. And I did like how later on they brought in Hillbilly Jim's family, Uncle Elmer and cousin Luke, because you can't have enough hillbillies in wrestling. And yeah, I love this match. I think it's hilarious, and I loved how Jesse Ventura screamed, "Drop it on him!" Uh, hilarious. And you're right about Jesse.
Where's your outrage for the way they treat Southerners in wrestling? You went after Stephen King a couple episodes ago.
I did.
Where's your outrage for this? Like, let's hear a classic Geno rant on how like Vince McMahon treats Southerners in wrestling. Go ahead. I'll wait.
Well, my rants are very organic. It's hard to force. It's hard to force a rant. I say,
I'm not a performing monkey.
but I do think, yeah, there is a. I think, and it's not only Vince. It's a lot of Northerners, and it's almost inherent in Northerners to look down on Southerners as backwood, overall wearing, tobacco chewing, barefoot, all this stuff, where it's not true. I don't think. I haven't done a lot of studies. But I think with Vince being, I think he's a New Yorker. Yeah, saying, "Hey, I need characters." Oh wait,
Oh,
people in the South.
isn't he from South Carolina?
Oh, is he? Okay.
Isn't he?
So he may be. I always think New York for some reason. Maybe
He's
because
like
they're.
trailer park in one of the Carolinas.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But yeah, I mean, I think like pro wrestling has always been like, okay, this guy needs to have a backstory, and the easiest one is, okay, well, he's from Kentucky, so he's a hillbilly, or he's you know, uh, Chief Jay Strongbow, okay, he's a Native American, and have him do a rain dance in the ring, where it's
Ugh,
kind of
yeah.
yeah, it was bad. I saw a match with Chief Jay Strongbow and Paul Orndorff. And one, Chief Jay Strongbow was balding and was incredibly out of shape, and the crowd loved him to pieces. And
Hmm.
especially when he was jumping up and down like he was, I don't know, shaking a butt plug out of his ass, the people died for it. And
Hmm.
maybe that's what he was doing. I didn't re-listen to commentary. Now we are on to NWA former champion, King Harley Race with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the fabulous Moolah, who also has some skeletons, against one of my favorite pro wrestlers of all time, JYD, the Junkyard Dog. And the loser must bow to the winner. You don't see these stipulations very much. I think this may be the one and only. Can you name another the loser must bow match?
No, but I can think of loser must kiss my foot match.
Oh yeah, Jerry
Um,
Lawler and Bret Hart.
and then the I want to say it was Owen Stone Cold at SummerSlam. It was like a kiss my ass match. Like
Oh
the
yes.
the loser had, and if I don't know what would have happened if like Austin didn't get like dumped on his head. But
Oh God.
yeah, I believe that was the stipulation for that. I mean, there's a lot of stipulations in that SummerSlam, but
Yeah,
those
you
are ones
also
that
had
come
the
those are the ones that come to mind.
you had the Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, WCW, Kiss My Ass match, and they took Ric Flair and shoved his face into Dusty's ass, but it was actually a donkey that was Dusty's supposed donkey. And then you also had that terrible crybaby match with Razor Ramon and One Two
Oh,
Three One or
yeah, one, two,
Xbox.
three, kid.
Yeah, so I these stipulations are nothing new, but we have King Harley Race, all time great against JYD. What do you think?
I didn't. I never got to experience JYD like as a competitor because he was kind of gone by the time I started watching wrestling. But like
Yep.
just from the short time he was on screen, I was like, holy shit! Like this guy can talk. He's got a great look. He's like very distinct. Like people were like really behind him, and he can
Yes.
wrestle too. Um, had that hard head gimmick. I was by the end of it, I was a complete fan of JYD.
One of the most charismatic wrestlers ever. And if he didn't have the cocaine issue, I wonder how far he would have gone at that time because the guy was amazing. The guy really as charismatic as it gets. And unfortunately in this match, and I'm not sure if it was just like a side effect of like extracurricular activities, he loses this match with a belly to belly and has to bow to King Harley Race. A
Yep.
decent match, like JYD, like not the best in ring competitor, but everything he does looks legit, and he's such fun. And Harley Race is an all time great. This is a lot of fun, and I did like how JYD was a poor loser at the end. What did you think about a
Yeah.
face being a poor loser?
Uh, it depends on what the context is. I liked this one because it just like I mean it feels like at the time JYD could basically do anything and be like, oh, that's just JYD.
Yes.
Um, like this is something like this is fine. Um, I don't mind it. It's just like a yeah, fuck you. Like I mean he did what he was asked to do. He did bow. He did curtsy.
Yeah, he did.
And then it's like, okay, well, he fulfilled all of his requirements. Like, it's all fair game, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved I loved the when like Harley Race was on all fours and JYD was on all fours and he just kept like ramming into him like a dog.
Yes.
And just like headbutting. I was like, that is so cool. And like I can't think of like too many other wrestlers I could get away with that. But like yeah, JYD, he was just great, man. I see what you've been banging on about for the past few years. Like JYD is great.
Dude, yeah,
I
I'm
don't
glad you
want to
brought
know anything about him personally.
yeah.
Like I'm just gonna keep him in my memory as a great baby face who just everybody loves.
Well, the thing with JYD is that everyone that knew him saw him as a very generous, nice person. He would go to schools and meet kids. It's just unfortunately addiction got the best of him. And at that time in this game, addiction was everywhere. And with the schedule, the uppers and the downers and all that stuff,
Mm.
it just got the best of him, unfortunately. But yeah, rest in peace, JYD. Leading us
That's that's
to
a that's an interesting thing because like I know that they're talking to us now. They're like have a much more sparse schedule on like wrestling promotions. But
yes,
like at the time, these guys were on the road like 300 days out of the year. They were missing Christmases and their whole family growing up and everything like that. And
yep,
like I'm so glad that like we're at a place now where wrestlers can have like a real life. They can rehab injuries. They don't have to like rely so heavy on substances just to get by.
yep.
Like that I'm so happy for the way things have turned out now as opposed to like what it must have been like in 1987.
I agree with you. It definitely has taken the turn for the positive, and I think that kind of started in WCW when Nash and Hall came in. They were given kind of 100 days of work a year program, and I think that's kind of
Mhm.
transcended across the board, and it should. One of the
Mhm.
worst matches of the night, and meaningless, and it's not just because I don't like Brutus Beefcake. Um, Beefcake and Greg the Hammer Valentine with Luscious Johnny V, who was awesome and never got a real shot, with Dino Bravo in their corner against the fabulous Rougeau brothers, who would later go on to be great heels, and the Mountie, and also came out of this. What did you think of the combination of Beefcake and Valentine, and what did you think of the Rougeau brothers as faces?
I thought they were I thought they were, pretty impressive wrestlers. They didn't really have much of a personality, although weren't really given that much time. They were coming off of like a Hogan promo, and it's
Yes.
like, okay, go, everybody, go, And so I don't feel like they got enough time to shine. And it's kind of the thing that was happening all over this pay-per-view was just like very short matches. Like I think I was like almost like 11, 12 matches on this program,
Yes.
and they like
Yes.
not a lot of them went over like 10 minutes. But this
No.
one was, I mean, I don't like Beefer. I don't really care much for Valentine. But I'm glad that the Rougeau's got an elevated bombs away. But then Dino Bravo comes in with interference, which is another thing that happens consistently on this. Like, there's no clean finishes
Yeah.
basically on this whole pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I hated seeing Dino Bravo in there because I hate seeing Canadian on Canadian violence. You know,
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah. No. Well, you're right. You're right. And
real sad, real
That
sad.
Dino Bravo. You know what happened to him, of course.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
He got into it with the Canadian mob, and he was murdered over, I think it was like imported cigarettes or something like that.
Now, are the Canadian mob also Italian?
I don't think so. I think they're Canadian, which is most likely French.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So they're probably French. I was just
Mm.
curious because you always associate the mob with Italians, and then I'm like, well, maybe they migrated to Canada and then they killed Dino Bravo. I don't know.
No,
But
no.
okay.
Nope. Mobs come from all countries, all walks of life, all creeds, colors, and what have you.
You don't hear much about the Canadian mob though. Like you hear like every movie is about the Italian mob, and sometimes you get like the Japanese mob,
The
but
Yakuza, yeah.
the Yakuza, right? But when you hear mob, I'm thinking Godfather or Goodfellas. I'm not
Mhm.
thinking of like the Canadian guy sitting there saying, "Hey, we got to show Dino Bravo what's up, man." Um,
That's
but if,
because, hey, that's because Canadians aren't flashy about it, and that's how you stay out of trouble. It's like my friend once explained to me. He goes, it's funny because every country has ninjas, except Japanese ninjas are the worst because you know about them. So I think it's the same thing with the mob. That, like, everybody, all the other mobs are just really terrible. The Canadians are the best mob because you don't know anything about them.
you know
Smart
what,
move
you're
if you're
right
Canadian.
because I've known a lot of Canadians. I've never known one that wore a pinky ring. So you might have something there.
the the instant visual cue that this person's in the mob. Either that or they were, JV in high school.
So
Can I
the
just
match,
say? Can I
yeah,
can I just say Hogan did a promo before this match where he says, like, I don't take any shortcuts. just
that's right.
just eat your vitamins. And I was like, the roided up guy is like, don't take shortcuts, kids. Just eat your vitamins.
Well, it would be better than him
Oh.
saying, "Do your steroids."
Do your steroid. Take your HGH, kids.
Now, one thing before we move on from the Rougeau match, I did like the Rougeau's finishing move, where they hold the guy up and they launch Jacques Rougeau's ball sack right in his mouth. What did you think?
Yeah. I thought that was great. It was it's a form of bombs away is what they call it. It's basically like a standing whoopee cushion. But the height that he got, because it looked like they were setting him up for like a doomsday device, or
Yes.
what do they call? What did the Heart Foundation call their finisher? The heart attack. It
Yeah.
looked like
Yep.
they were going to do like a heart attack off the top, but he just ended up hitting him in the face with his scrote. And I was like, wow, yeah, like that was a really impressive move.
Yeah, I liked it. I like the
Fucking
Rougeau brothers.
Canadians, man. They know what they're doing.
They do, and leading us to one of the highlight matches of the night, the retirement or so-called retirement of Roddy Piper, as he takes on the out of the closet adorable Adrian Adonis. Now they've done these gimmicks before with Adrian Street, and they did them after with like Gold Dust, where it's kind of like wrestling is a macho thing, and so another wrestler pretends to be gay to kind of like rattle them. And Adrian Adonis is probably the second best to Adrian Street. What do you think? And what do you think of the gimmick of um, rattling the man's man like that?
I mean, that's been around since like at least the 50s. And that's when you started seeing these wrestlers start becoming more flamboyant. Like Buddy Rogers used to act like that. Like the name,
Yes.
and then Ric Flair used to act like that. Even Jesse the Body Ventura even kind of like pushed that. He's certainly like a man's man, but the way he dressed and the way that he was, sort of carried himself, like it had that sort of undertone to it.
Yes.
Um, I don't necessarily mind it. It gets into like really homophobic territory. Especially from crowd reactions. I know they're trying to stoke the fires, but it's just like
Yeah.
it's like I guess it's the fucking 80s. I guess everything was acceptable in the 80s. But yeah, it was fine. It was fine. I think
Yeah.
I don't that they probably would never do that now.
No, no, they would like right now you have like Sunny Kiss. I think he's transgender, and they're taking it like they're presenting it in a very like street real way, or Sunny Kiss is, I should say. At this point, it was more like caricature, and but I do think
Yeah.
like there is something there, and where the man's man can sometimes get rattled by it for some reason, and it's exploited here. And you mentioned the crowd reaction. The crowd reaction, um, it just exposes what they're trying to do. Like, are you familiar with Adrian Street?
Not at all.
All right, great wrestler. Small. He came out and like the Texas crowd. He was wrestling in Texas, and they were saying all this homophobic shit to him. And so he
Mhm.
decided, I'm going to work on that. And he came out and he sang his own music, which actually is super catchy. And he'd walk up and go, "Look at this sexy cowboy," to a guy in the crowd. And they'd want to kill him. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this is kind of what I think they're going for with Adonis. I think Adonis, despite like his weight issues, is such a good worker, is so charismatic, and was the right guy to send Piper off. I like this feud, and I love Adonis. I liked Adonis when did you see he was on Saturday Night's Main Event, and there's a cardboard cutout of Paul Orndorff, and Adonis walks up and grabs it. He goes, "I want this man," and then he looks at the camera and goes, "I've always wanted this man." It is so fucking funny. I loved Adonis, and I like this feud. What did you think of the feud? What did you think of the match? And what did you think about the unnecessary addition of Beefcake coming down at the end?
Um, I Adrian Adonis is like very out of shape. I know he was like a great wrestler before this, and I know he put on weight. And I know that the gimmick itself was to kind of punish him for putting on weight.
It was.
Um, but Piper is just okay. Let me say this: Piper can't wrestle, like he
Hmm.
can't, and he's, but Jesus, this man can elicit a reaction. He's I see why like people love him. Like he's one of my favorite wrestlers, and it's just like, yeah, he can he do like simple wrestling moves? No, he
Mhm.
cannot. He's really bad at it. But like
Yes.
he knows how to put on a match that is just like elicits emotion. I mean, there's a reason why he was the headliner with Hogan at WrestleMania 1. He knows how to like get under. He was like the Joker to Hogan's Batman, you
He
know?
was. Yeah.
And he's just like such a good thing, and like he was such a hated heel. He was like probably the most hated heel in the mid 80s, but is one of the most beloved baby faces now. And it's crazy how he was just able to manipulate emotions. But so that, I mean, that made this match great. I mean, a lot of it was just like Piper whips Adonis with a belt, and then Adonis whips Piper with a belt. Adrian
Yep.
Adonis takes the Ric Flair turnbuckle flippy thing,
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
and then he puts on, and then he Jimmy Hart trips Piper, and then yeah, and then he puts the Goodnight Irene, the sleeper hold on Piper, and then he lets go too early,
Yes.
and then Piper wakes up, beefcake comes down and wakes up Piper, and then he puts the sleeping hold on Adrian Adonis, and that he goes out. But and then it was a hair versus career match, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a hair versus hair match,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, they did shave Adrian's head, although he looked very uncomfortable. Um, and then you had a fan run in the ring to celebrate with Piper, and Piper handled it pretty well. He didn't stop a mud hole in him. He gave him a hug
Oh,
and
he
told,
can't. He's a baby face.
"Yeah, that's true too." You know, but it's still you don't know what this guy is going to do, and Piper handled it well. Good match, good storytelling, and once again, we have a beginning, middle, and end of this story, right? Like this,
Mhm.
the WWF made a story and they ended it at WrestleMania, which is how it should go, and we see it here on this one. And we also have one of my favorite villains of all time, Dangerous Danny Davis, coming up in a six-man tag. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dangerous Danny Davis. Uh, he
He
was a
was,
ref.
yeah, he was a referee, right?
Yeah, and he fucked people. He fucked the Bulldogs out of their titles. He
Hmm.
fucked Tito Santana out of a title. He is a complete. He was just a referee on the take, and so because he was fired by Jack Tunney, the president, um, he decided to join Jimmy Hart, and Jimmy Hart made him a wrestler, and now he's Dangerous Danny Davis, teaming with the Hart Foundation to take on the British Bulldogs and Tito Santana, who desperately want revenge on that crooked referee. What do you think of this match? And what do you think of Dangerous Danny Davis? How smug he is and arrogant he is.
He was great. I didn't like know anything going into it. I had to like look it up later, like what was going on. But like, so it was a Heart Foundation with Danny Davis versus the British Bulldogs and Tito, and like Brett would tag in Danny Davis. Danny Davis would like kick like Tito
Yeah.
or Dynamite, and then immediately tag out. He's like
Yes.
such a smug prick. I have no idea who this guy is, but it's fucking great. He's just like such a prick. And like he would just
Yes.
like literally come in, he would come in for like 10 seconds and then tag out to Brett or Anvil, and then they would tag him back in.
Oh
Oh, that
god.
was so good. So good. And I can always watch the Calgary boys have a match, you know, like the Dynamite Kid and Brett going at it, Neidhart and
Oh yeah.
Bulldog. Those guys are all very good at what they do. I mean, Bulldog's okay, but like Brett and Dynamite are probably two of the best wrestlers like in history, I would say.
Yeah, and Tito Santana ain't no joke. That guy
No,
can
he's really good too. He doesn't quite have all of that, but he's certainly got more personality than Brett and
wrestle.
Dynamite. But yeah, and I kind of I didn't think about this, but like Dynamite kind of reminds me of like Eddie Guerrero. You know, like
Yes.
kind of a smaller guy who packed on a lot of muscle, and it did nothing good for him, and
No,
he
I
just
agree.
couldn't make it. but like, I mean, Eddie Guerrero is obviously the success story of that. Granted, he died prematurely, but
Yep.
like, yeah, I just like I just see a parallel between Dynamite Kid and Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I see it too. I mean, like at the time, realistically, like smaller guys, at most you're gonna see Intercontinental title. British Bulldogs, obviously won the tag team titles in WrestleMania 2, but yeah, the Dynamite Kid didn't have the promo, and was just a good in-ring performer. That's where it began and ended. The Hart Foundation had more going for him, and Dangerous Danny Davis, they wanted revenge on him. You had the power slam from the British Bulldog. You had the flying forearm from Tito Santana. They got him beat. Dangerous Danny Davis has thrown the megaphone from Jimmy Hart. Nails the Bulldog, gets a 1, 2, 3, and they don't get revenge. They carry Davis back to the locker rooms, and he's raising his hands up in celebration. Loved it. I'm so glad Davis was the one that got the win, and um, it was. I really wish they did more with him because they just turned him into a
Yeah.
jobber shortly after this. But
Oh,
being
sure.
a smug guy who really is weak, but somehow steals wins all the time, would have been a great path for him.
I think so. I think that would have been great. The problem is I completely missed the finish because like I guess there's just terrible camera work. Like this
Yes,
whole show had awful camera work because
it
like
did.
you missed a lot of stuff. And especially this because like they weren't focusing on what was going like the finish of the match where Danny Davis hit I think it was Bulldog with a bullhorn
Yes.
and yeah, and I was just like, oh Jesus Christ! And I had to like go back and rewatch it. And luckily they did a replay. But yeah, terrible camera work. But this match was great. I loved it.
Loved it too. Now we have the match where you get up to go get popcorn or hit the John. Um, Natural Butch Reed, who's a great talent, beats Coco Beware. And then Slick gets stripped by Tito Santana. Now, if you're horny, Santana, go find somebody else. Leave poor Slick alone. Um, what did you think of this match? Very quick, very obvious who was gonna win. Did you get anything from it?
Absolutely not. I don't really like Coco that much, but he was really quick. Uh, the natural Butch Reed, whoever the fuck that is a really slow guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Reed wins when he reverses a crossbody by Coco. And Coco has a bird named Frankie. That's about it. And then
Well,
Tito comes in for to go after Slick.
yeah,
Not much to write home about, man.
no, but I will say this about Butch Reed. You may not know this, but in WCW, he was part of a team called Doom with Ron Simmons and a woman who was the unfortunate wife of Chris Benoit as the manager, and they had huge success, huge feud with the Steiners, and they were tag team champions for like a year. Ron Simmons and Butch Reed Doom, what a team! What a talent Butch Reed was. But here against Coco Beware, it didn't mean anything. It was a meaningless match. Um, but that leads us to the best card. I mean, undisputed, the best in-ring fight of the night. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat seeking revenge against um, Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Randy Macho Man Savage um, for the title. Steamboat coming off a throat injury caused by Macho Man with the belt or the bell. Um, this had nothing but fire. The build up to this match was incredible, and the match lived up to the build up. What do you think of this match overall? And is it the best match on the card, as most say it is?
Oh, for sure. And it's probably one of the best matches of the 80s. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a reason why this match is so notable, and people still refer to it as one of the best WrestleMania matches. I mean, today's standards, it's not much because it's been aped so many times by other people. But I mean, the characters in this, like Macho. Do you have a good Macho Man impression? Can you do one?
Um, I've had a cold for the past 2 weeks, so not particularly. But I think everyone has one. But mine definitely
Yeah.
would be a piss poor one, even if I didn't have
Oh.
this sinus thing.
History beckons the Macho Man. Yeah, I like the two characters coming together, the sort of like, white meat baby face and Ricky Steamboat, and the more flamboyant, kind of like full of himself Macho Man coming together in the ring. Like it was an emotional story.
Yep.
Very fast paced. Like if you go from Butch Reed and Coco Beware to this match, you're just like,
yeah.
holy shit. Like a lot of and it wasn't really done that much, but like there was a lot of near falls, like a lot of like 1, 2 up, 1, 2 up, and it's like a lot of frustration. I love it when people like do a move, they try to pin them, and then somebody kicks out, and then they try to pin them again out of frustration. It's just like, come on, I love that psychology in a match. And this was really good. And like at one point Macho even knees Ricky Steamboat into the crowd, which you don't really see that much of. It was really good. And Jesse's commentary was hilarious on this.
I loved it.
My only problem is George the Animal Steel. I really didn't need to be there. Like this match could have survived on its own. And George distracts Macho Man.
Yeah.
And then Macho Man like hurts his back. He tries to go for a body slam, and then he gets into a small package. Ricky Steamboat wins, and the place fucking goes nuts. Like the whole stadium erupted.
Everyone was so invested in it. Like I remember, I grew up with it and wanting to see Steamboat kick his ass, and it really did predate. Steamboat was George Animal Steel feuding with Macho Man, because they really didn't have someone to feud with him. So they basically turned George Animal Steel into a face and had that go for a little bit. Had the the Beauty and the Beast thing or whatever. And but then Ricky Steamboat came to the Federation from NWA or WCW, whatever you want to call it, after some killer bouts with Ric Flair. So he is a guy that was built from Ric Flair. Like Ric Flair, love him or hate him, he did what he could to create like talent. Like he would put people over, he would lose, and Steamboat was one of those guys where they just clicked. And when Steamboat came to fight Savage, he was primed for the match of his life, and we got it. This match had a great story. It was so good. The in ring action was awesome, and there may not be a better babyface than Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and there may not be a worse theme song than Family Man for Ricky Steamboat and WCW. I may have mentioned this before. Did you ever listen to He's a Family Man from the Slam Jam 1?
Nope. And I'm all set with that. Don't send it to me. I don't want to hear it. Don't.
Well, you may love it. Maybe you're afraid to. You might be afraid to love it. That's your problem.
Well, then you've given me such a good intro to it. It's like the worst song ever. Have you heard
it? Well, sometimes things are awesome when they're bad. Now we got the next match. Jake the Snake Roberts is now a face, and he's bringing Alice Cooper to deal with Jimmy Hart should he interfere, to face the relatively new heel, the Honky Tonk Man. Now, the World Wrestling Federation had a strategy. Have someone be Hulk Hogan's friend, and they'll be over. They did it with Hillbilly Jim. They tried it with Honky Tonk Man. They did it with Tugboat. And it doesn't always work. Here, it did not work. People hated the Honky Tonk Man, so he started out saying how much he loved Elvis, and then now he's saying Elvis was a no-talent pig that slobbered his songs into the microphone, couldn't carry a tune if it had handles on it. The heel Honky Tonk Man was awesome, and this feud was good, even though the guitar shot he hit Jake the Snake with in the Snake Pit did permanent neck damage to Jake.
Oh, did it really?
It did. He used a real guitar, and it actually did something to his spine to where he was out for a long time. And Jake came back, and he actually after that he was never the same. But they had this match, and Honky Tonk Man beats Jake. by cheating, of course. And then we have the awkward thing where Alice Cooper has the snake, and Hart is kicking his legs, and Jake gets frustrated and grabs the snake from Cooper and throws it on Jimmy Hart because Alice Cooper couldn't pull the trigger. Why don't you think they choreographed that better?
I don't know. Cooper being there was so weird. He looks like a skinny grandma, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just like I don't think. I mean, the dude sells out stadiums all on his own. Maybe he just got like really nervous in front of the crowd. I don't know. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I loved I loved like Jesse's like, oh, they bringing snakes in here and like poor Jimmy Hart. Oh, and then
Oh my
like
God.
was it Gorilla? Was it Gorilla that was like they don't have snakes in Memphis?
That's right.
That was good. That was great.
That was awesome. And now we get another kind of like in between match. Something that kind of like if you're going to go take a piss, this is a good one. Nikolai Volkov
Oh
and the
God,
Iron
yeah.
Sheik against the Killer Bees. Killer Bees win by disqualification. Oh no. The Sheik and Nikolai win by disqualification when Hacksaw Jim Duggan makes his debut. Um, I don't get it. I don't get why they just didn't have a clean win. Let the Killer Bees win. Let them lose. But we don't need a DQ. Do you think this match was complete shit like I do?
Yeah, I did. I hate Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I think he's fucking stupid. He's awful. I don't know why they keep putting him there. Like he sucks.
Yep.
And like the, he does this thing where he's just like people love this guy, but he's just like he attacks them while singing the Soviet national anthem, and
Yes.
Duggan like goes, "This is the land of the free. You can't sing that song here." It's like, motherfucker, you completely just contradicted yourself, you asshole. Like I hate
Yes.
Duggan. Go away.
Yeah, Duggan didn't become
Such an
good
idiot.
until he came into the Attitude Era, where they had him for a brief time, where he was saying stupid shit like they were gonna put his 2x4 into the Hall of Fame, and he went up to William Regal, and he's like, "You're not getting my wood in your hand, tough guy." And William Regal goes, "I will not leave this room until I got your big piece of wood in my hand." And for what you call it, Ron Simmons came in. He's like, "Damn,"
Yeah.
and that was funny. When they had him on the dating game, and they took a picture of him, and as as they have the camera on Hacksaw, he's wrestling with his wedding ring to get it off. Um, he was funny then, but this Hacksaw sucked. I agree, and Nikolai and Iron Sheik ran their course, and the Killer Bees. You may not know this, they were the first team to beat Demolition. Um,
Oh, were they?
they were right before Demolition won the titles. The Killer Bees beat them, and how they beat them was they tricked them by getting knocked out without a mask, and then putting on masks so they couldn't be seen like torn apart and so they got tricked. I don't know why that mask thing worked, but it seemed to work. And Demolition was so stupid they fell for it.
Wrestling logic. What are you gonna do?
Oh, there you go. Leading to the event, the the reason why people are there. Hulk Hogan, reigning heavyweight champion of the world, taking on his former friend, undefeated 15 years, Andre the Giant with Bobby Heenan in his corner. The electricity in the room as they came to the ring was crazy. The match doesn't go long, but for what it does, it completely everyone's into it. And we get the ending that probably you could see coming, but there was still some doubt. Andre could have. Andre was a live fighter in there. What did you think of the
I
build up?
think that
Oh, go ahead.
I think that's a lie. They never would have put Andre in there if they weren't 100% sure. That's just like Hogan lying. I'm sorry. I know you love him, but he's such a compulsive liar, and it's like bro, like they would never let Andre go in there and be like, well, I don't know what he's gonna do. Do you know what he's gonna do? I don't know what he's gonna do. Like they would never do that. Like Vince wouldn't do that. Like Vince is crazy. He's not stupid.
Yeah. But sometimes guys go into business for themselves.
Not in the main event of WrestleMania. Like he's not gonna do it. It's just Hogan lying. Like
Yeah.
I can't. I like his life is very impressive. I don't know why he needs to lie about shit. You know what I mean?
No, and Andre was so weak at the time. Like even
Yeah.
Princess Bride, they had to hold up Robin Penn because he couldn't carry her
Robin Red
weight.
Pen. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
yeah, he was but the match is awesome. And they
Yeah.
really
I
they
as much as I hate Hogan, as much as I really don't like him as a person, this dude like really sold this match.
he
Like
did.
he made Andre look like a killer, even though Andre could barely move inside the ring. Like and just Hogan just like crawling around on his hands and knees and like Andre doing like one move and Hogan like prolapsing on the ground.
Yes.
Like I'll give him this. Like he really made Andre look like a fucking killer. And a lot of it has to do with just Hogan's selling.
He did. He sold well for Andre in this for sure. And there was no like hulking up or no selling. He made this match feel real for the 5 or 6 minutes it went for. The ending where Hogan slams Andre, the crowd goes fucking nuts, and the leg drop
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Hulk Hogan retains the title, and the crowd is just going nuts. The 75,000, whatever they are on their feet. Vince had a masterpiece pay per view. Hogan became a superstar this night. Like you're looking at Rocky 3, put him on the map. AWA made him like a name. Beating the Sheik. WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2 was kind of a dud. This was the show, and Hogan lived up to it. So granted, liar. Granted, he's done some unscrupulous things, but Hogan was a charismatic force of nature, and it worked out
Yep.
here. And great stuff overall.
Would you say that this is Hogan's like apex? Like this is when he was at his greatest, at his like apotheosis, if you will?
As a face, yes, it's tough
Yeah. Okay.
because NWO he was reborn,
Yep.
and he was great as a heel. So it's like take your pick, like Starcade with Sting and Hogan. Even though the match had some shit into it, the build-up was great. The anticipation of pay-per-view sales were off the hook. It's tough, but as a face, WrestleMania 4, the tournament did nothing for him. 5 with Savage, 6 with Warrior, 7 with Slaughter, 8 with Sid, 9 when he bailed out one of his good friends. None of it matches
Fuck
this.
yeah. Yeah.
Ain't I
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and like this was such a one-sided match. Like it was literally just Hogan basically doing all the work and Andre just sort of like reaping it in. Yeah, I mean he was great tonight. Great
Okay,
showman, good selling.
I agree. And finally, just to wrap it up, best match, worst match. What do you think? I know what the best match is. We can probably agree that it was Steamboat and
Yeah,
Savage, but what do you think the worst match of the night
absolutely.
was?
I would say like Honky and Jake maybe. Like that was pretty bad, and especially I love Jake and I hate Honky, but yeah, I I think that was the word. Or no, Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. I don't know how Nikolai Volkov had worked for so long. He's awful. But yeah,
Yes.
probably it was a tie between those two. What about you?
Ah, my hatred of Beefcake has to put that match. As much as I like Luscious Johnny V, um, that's the match I'm like, oh, this asshole. And then when Piper wins, I'm like, that asshole's back again. But yeah, got to go with Steamboat Savage. Obviously, hands down, best match of the night. I did like the Hillbilly Jim match. Obviously, Hogan and Andre and JYD. You can't lose. This is a great card. This is what they should study for next year's WrestleMania. You need to build the stories, less pay-per-views, and have the stories end, and then you move on to a different story. It all works out.
Uh,
Um,
have them end cleanly.
yes, yes. They don't do that anymore. Everything now is just like this garbage that just keeps going. Like, do you remember when Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns fought every 5 minutes?
Oh my god. Or John
Garbage.
Cena and fucking Randy Orton. Like, oh, I've
Oh
never seen
my
that match again.
God, dude. After WrestleMania 3, what a great event. Historic, set the tone. Uh, Possibly the best WrestleMania of all time. We have one more to speak of. But before that, Eric's 2 minute movie review. Every episode we give Eric 2 minutes to talk about a movie he's seen, usually one I have not. And he gives his 2 cents, sometimes 3 cents, 4 cents, and sometimes he trails over that 2 minutes. I gotta tell him shut the fuck up. Let's move on. And so, as always, Eric, we look forward to these. What do you got lined up for us today?
Two killer fucking movies for you. One's in the theaters right now called Sinners, directed and written by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and Haley Steinfeld. It's about two young men that start a juke joint in rural Mississippi, but they are beset by a clan of vampires.
Oh,
This movie is fucking great. It's actually kind of a musical, and I really didn't mind it because the music was great. It's also is inspired a lot from Dusk Till Dawn,
nice.
and it was just a great movie with great music. It had fun action, horror, good dialogue. Highly recommend you go see this movie. It was absolutely great. The next movie is a banger from 1985, directed by William Friedkin, To Live and Die in L.A. Have you seen this one?
Long, long time ago, I remember really liking it.
Yep. Starring William Peterson and Willem Dafoe. It's about a cop that tracks down the counterfeiter who killed his partner. This is a fast-paced movie. It's got, that great kinetic action that William Friedkin was really good at. Like he really mastered in like the French Connection. It's obviously brilliantly directed, and one of those movies that like as I was watching it, I like literally found myself going like, holy shit,
Yep.
and completely took me by surprise. Great movie, To Live and Die in LA.
Nice, awesome, and if you'll
Was that
indulge,
good enough for you,
that
Geno?
that was good, and if you and the people will indulge me, I'll do my quick 30-second movie review because I don't watch a lot of new movies, but when I do, I like to say yay or nay, and I want to give a big yay to Flight Risk, directed by Mel Gibson. It's got Marky Mark. If you're a fan of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch from the '90s, you'll like him in this. Um, It's basically a three-person movie. They're stuck in the airplane. You got a mobster played by Mark Wahlberg, and he is ready to kill an agent and a guy in the witness protection program. It's a constant battle inside the small airplane in the sky. They pulled it off with great writing. Some of the CGI looks like shit, but for I'm guessing what was a relatively lower budget. They did a great job. It was a lot of fun. It flew by. Flight Risk. If you get a chance, give it a shot. I recommend it. And good job, Marky Mark. Leading us to oh my God, WrestleMania 13. Now, this I watched it on Peacock a couple nights ago, and I've asked for a refund. Even though I didn't pay for it. Uh, what a terrible, terrible WrestleMania minus one match, which obviously is a historic match. But before we get into that, we start with the intro. The main event is Sid versus The Undertaker in a match that doesn't make a lot of sense. And they start with the intro saying they're both faces and they're going to destroy each other and blah, 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 blah. What did you think of this main event with Sid and Taker? Did they really just have nowhere to go because Shawn Michaels lost his smile? Bret Hart was tied up with Austin. and judging by the card, they didn't have a lot of star power to take on Sid.
Mm-mm. No, and it really all kind of stems from Shawn Michaels saying that he had a knee injury or something and that he lost his smile because it was supposed to be Bret and Shawn's rematch from WrestleMania 12, but Shawn, I guess maybe he just didn't want to lose to Bret, and he decided to sit this one out. But so then they just kind of had to they scrambled really hard after that. They had a fatal 4-way at the last In Your House between Austin, Bret, Undertaker, and Vader, because those were the guys that were illegally eliminated by Stone Cold at the Rumble. And then Bret won the title, and then Sid won it the next night on Raw.
Yes.
And then so Bret was just kind of like, I guess you're out of the picture. And like Vince does what Vince always does, is he goes with big guys. So we had Sid and Undertaker in the main event, even though it made no sense whatsoever.
And Psycho Sid, or Sid Vicious, is an impressive, charismatic monster. Like, I can see what Vince saw with Psycho Sid, but he never really used him very well. So, and this is a case of it. But we'll start with the first match of the evening, coming from the Rosemount Horizon. We got the Headbangers.
Oh, can I just say it's also the least bought WrestleMania of all time, with only 237,000 pay-per-view buys.
Not shocking.
Oof.
We got a fatal 4-way in a tag team elimination match with the Headbangers, the Godwins, with Hillbilly Jim, who you may remember from WrestleMania 3, who did not bring Little Beaver or the Haiti Kid with him, sadly, in this event. We have Barry Windham and what's his face? What's the other blackjack? JBL. And then the Doug Furness and Phil LaFon from they were big in New Japan. They had a little bit of a run in NWA, and they came to WWE, but they really didn't have a lot of charisma. So we got these teams going at it, and looking at the teams on the surface, I'm like, they all kind of suck. Who's gonna win this one? Were you shocked?
Come on, Doug Furness and Phil LaFon were a great tag team. They couldn't talk worth a goddamn, but they were so impressive in the ring.
They were impressive in the ring, but you know what? In this match, though, there were so many like botches in this. Maybe because it was 4 teams, but with the Blackjacks and Doug Furness, I was like going ouch every 5 minutes because I'm like they keep fucking up. The Headbangers end up winning this thing. And what did you think of the Headbangers? I thought they were an okay team. And do you know what team that they started out as before they were the Headbangers?
No, I don't know, but I always liked them. I thought this could have just been a Doug Furness, Phil LaFon Headbangers match, and it would have been pretty fucking good.
Yes.
But no, what team were they on?
They started out being managed by Brother Love as the Flying Nuns.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then they became the Headbangers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were on Shotgun Saturday Night.
Yes,
Yeah,
they were. Now the Headbangers, you got Chaz, who turned into Beaver Cleavage. I liked Beaver Cleavage. That was funny.
You would.
What? That's funny.
That's right up your alley.
Come on, it's Attitude Era. What are you gonna do with him? So you make Beaver Cleavage, where his mom hugs him and then he looks at the camera with a creepy smile. That's kind of funny. But then they fucked it up by making him a woman beater.
Yeah.
Beaver Cleavage, or the Headbangers with Beaver Cleavage. They win. Hillbilly Jim, very disappointed, has to go home. He has to tell the Haiti Kid and Little Beaver that yet again they lost another WrestleMania. What did you think of this match? And what do you think of the new Blackjacks? Have you ever thought about growing one of those mustaches and getting like the jet black cowboy hat look?
It's actually, it's funny that you say that, because no, I never thought of that at all.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't know, like the new Blackjacks, like what new tag team ever got over like the
Oh,
new
yeah.
rockers, the new blackjacks. Like, I can't. The concept of this match is awesome. I love the concept of like an elimination tag team match. Like,
Yes.
but this was really bad, and it was really slowed down by the blackjacks. Barry Windham's a great wrestler. JBL kind of sucks. The
Yeah.
Godwins, I mean, Henry Godwin's a pretty decent wrestler, but Phineas, I don't know what the fuck that shit's about. And it just like the Blackjacks get DQ'd. Phil LaFon get counted out at the exact same time, and then it's just
Yes.
then it just becomes a standard tag team match, which the Headbangers win with that same move that the fucking
The Rougeaus.
the Rougeaus did. So
Yes.
that's a very impressive move. But yeah, nothing much to say about this match. I liked the Headbangers, and I liked Phil LaFon and Doug Furness, but that was about it.
I was pretty upset. I didn't get to see anyone get slop dropped.
Yeah, that's a good move.
That is a good move. It's kind of like the Scorpion Death Drop, but with some farm animals. Um, so yeah, so we had the Headbangers. The new Blackjack stunk. It was Barry Windham never got a fair shake in the WWF because they started
No.
him out well. They teamed him with Rotundo, then he left, and they never forgave him. They brought him back as the Stalker. They brought him back as a new Blackjack. This guy is awesome, and he was awesome. I'm not sure if you remember in WCW when him and Kurt Hennig and I forget his name, but he passed away. They started the new, like they were called like the West End or West Memphis Rednecks, and they would sing songs,
Cool.
and they got super over. They were super funny. But Kurt Hennig, Barry Windham, and I forget his name, but great stuff, comedic genius. But this match, I wasn't a fan of. I was happy it was over. But then we got the Intercontinental Championship right after. And if people that are a
Oh
fan
yeah.
of the,
So we got
oh, go
The
for it.
Rock and the Sultan, aka Samoan cousins. The Honky Tonk Man comes out because he held the Intercontinental title the longest, and Rocky Maivia does not get a good reaction in this match. Did you hear the Rocky sucks and the die Rocky die chants during the match?
I did, and the problem is people don't like being told who's going to be popular, and they don't like someone who's so disingenuous as The Rock was at this time, coming out with a big smile on his face, waving at people, and it just didn't work. And the Sultan, who was Rikishi, that didn't work. Why was Bob Backlund there? Why was the Iron Sheik there? I have no fucking clue. The match is just bad, and people that see what The Rock is now, if they saw him at this point, you would never connect the dots and say this guy is going to be like the biggest actor in the world and the biggest star WWE has probably ever seen. Yeah, because here the audience don't like him. He's not over, and nothing he does goes over well. He beats the Sultan, no surprise there. But fuck, what a bad match. What a, I mean,
Yeah.
I was asking for the Headbangers to come back.
Well, it's funny because like like Rocky's out there and he's like smiling and he's just like, I'm just happy to be here, but like you can tell when he doesn't think the camera's on him, like he gets this look on his face just like, I fucking hate this, you know. And fighting his cousin Rikishi, and who was a great wrestler, but they didn't know what to do with him. He was a head shrinker, and then he became Make a Wish Fatu or Make a Difference Fatu or whatever. And so then this is like a transitional gimmick from him being that to him being Rikishi. And it's just like, it's two guys who go on to become huge stars, but they don't quite know what to do with them yet, and that is why I chose this, because there's so many people in place right now that are going to become like industry defining legends in the business, but right now they're just sort of mid-carders. And
it's so crazy.
It's fascinating because I mean, The Rock is obviously going to become The Rock, but at this time they're just like, oh, he's a big dude, he's a good-looking guy. Like, let's just give him some pearly whites and a pineapple
Yep.
haircut, you know.
And they
But
also they bring in Rocky's dad, Rocky Johnson, to come in there and beat up the Sheik. But I found Rocky Johnson's like jittery moves pretty crazy. It looked like once again that vibrating butt plug thing was happening. What did you think of his like gyrations as he fought the Sheik?
I thought it was cool. I thought it was, I love the double like arm flailing thing where they punch him. I thought it was great. He had energy. They have energy, and there's gonna be there's gonna be some matches on this card that have no energy that could have used some of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
So he wins. So The Rock wins, and we go on to the promo before the match with Triple H and China as they go into take on Goldust with Marlena in his corner. Now, Triple H at this point is in between the ex Triple H and Connecticut Royal Snob Triple H, and he's still doing the voice of the snob, but it's kind of breaking up a little bit. Like he's getting away from it, which is a good thing. Um, what
Mhm.
did you think? I guess the story of this match is that it's like the introduction officially of China as a bodyguard. What did you think of the promo, and what did you think of the feud between Triple H and Goldust?
I thought these two were really good foils for each other. Obviously they had to straighten up Gold Dust a little bit.
They did. Yep.
Yeah, and so he wasn't pushing the boundaries in terms of his sexuality, and it was very apparent that he was heterosexual with Marlena.
Yep.
But I thought this match was pretty good. It was pretty heatless. It was just sort of like, when's China going to get her hands on Marlena?
Yes.
But I mean, they're two very good. They're two very good workers. And the tension was pretty good. They had a pretty decent match. Little did we know this was going to be contender for match of the night.
Yep. I agree.
Oh, oof.
It was good. We did see um, Triple H win over Goldust after like Marlena got in some trouble. So it was good match. I wasn't very up on the story. Like I saw the highlight reels going into it, but overall, like you can't go from WrestleMania 3 with the storytelling to this, and which is exactly what I did. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. That's why they don't like each other. But good match. Goldust, always a good wrestler, and Triple H is very good as well. Leading us to
Yeah.
oh god, okay, the World Tag Team Championship.
Oh,
Owen Hart and the British Bulldog taking on Mankind and Vader with Paul Bearer in the corner. And this one, disappointingly, went to a double count out. They didn't know what to do. There was just this whole event was thrown together. Like
yeah.
British Bulldog and Owen Hart against I want to say they're both heel teams. Am I wrong?
They are. They are. Although there was one bit that made me laugh, was like, I think JR goes up to Bulldog and Owen, and they're just like, Bulldog, what do you think about Owen calling himself the leader? And Owen's just like, stop trying to make division in our tag team. Stop trying to pull us apart. He goes, did you think that who's the leader of this team? And Owen's like, stop trying to stir things up. I am. I was like, that was
Owen was
brilliant.
so
Owen's so good. Owen was so good. And so in this match, the only person really involved in this match is Owen. Mankind is a little bit, but
yes.
Owen is the only person who, when he's on the apron, he's watching the match, he's really intent, he's really in it. Bulldog is just kind of like off in space.
Yep.
Vader doesn't really care. I think it's kind of clear that Vader is on his way out, and that they're not going to do anything with him, which sucks because he's a monster heel. But
Vader could have been so much, and I think it's one of those things where if you're a superstar in another or like in WCW, Vince sabotages you coming in. And Vader came in, and they had him in the Yokozuna feud and the Sid feud, and he could have been world champion. And maybe it was politics with Shawn Michaels killing him too, but at this point, like you said, Vader's heart was not in this company, not in this match, and it sucks because he is so good.
Yeah, yeah, and like I know that the SummerSlam match between him and Shawn killed his push, and they just didn't have anything for him. I mean, he's from all accounts not a safe guy. Like he's really pounding people in the ring.
Yes.
And at this time in his career, I think he weighed a little too much. Maybe he was out of shape, but he wasn't in it. He wasn't in it, and I don't know. This match really sucked because almost everybody wasn't in it, save for Owen and a little bit of Mankind.
Yes.
Who
So
again is another character who is kind of in the mid card right now, but is going to go on to become legendary.
Mankind, what a awesome wrestler in person. Now as people are getting ready to go to the parking garage and drive away from this train wreck, we get we get something that pulls them back. Bret the Hitman Hart riding the line of face and heel against Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's also riding the line between face and heel in a grudge match, a submission match featuring UFC champion Ken Shamrock, who can do a good promo in the UFC, but had a hard time when it was in with wrestling at first, at least.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He was when he did a promo earlier in the night, and he was too fucking sincere. He was too like, oh yeah, I took this guy down, and I wasn't trying to do anything to him. I was just trying to show him like who I am, let him know my presence. I wasn't trying to do anything really bad. It's just like that's not a WWE promo, dude. You can't just
nope.
be talking like you're watching a soccer match.
Now have you seen uh Ken Shamrock in Scarecrow 3, the low budget horror film?
No.
Oh my god, dude, he's
Where
awesome
is
in
it?
it.
Where can I
I
watch this?
I would guess it's on Tubi. There's a trilogy. The first one, the first one is good. The second one sucks, but the third one has Ken Shamrock as a coach, and he overacts the shit out of it. It's so good. It's so funny. Um, and if you can't find it anywhere, I'll gladly loan you the DVD. It's wonderful. And
Please do.
Ken Shamrock, the fact like he warns the kids not to go to this beach because that's where the scarecrow kills people, and he finds out through a voicemail or a whatever a phone recording that they went there, and he's like going crazy, and it's just so funny how he overacts. I love it. But here
Oh, it's called
he's
Scarecrow Gone Wild.
that's what it was. Scarecrow Gone Wild.
Okay.
Um,
I
now,
will watch that as soon as it comes to something.
yeah, it's wonderful. It's awesome. Now, Bret Hart versus Stone Cold. I think they're in the same position that Savage and Steamboat were going into WrestleMania, where they wanted to steal the night,
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say they're like, save us, please.
yes, but the difference was this was a sinking ship, and WrestleMania 3 uh, could have survived without Savage and Steamboat, despite it being the best match. This match, this WrestleMania, had it not had Hart and Stone Cold, oh my fucking god, imagine how bad this would be. I mean, it's bad as it is, it sucks as it is, but this is certainly a highlight. What a battle, what a great match, and as much as Bret Hart can suck on promos,
Yeah.
he in the ring you can't doubt him. And I always say
Never.
this, and I've said it to you before: Bret Hart, Brian Pillman, Owen Hart, Bulldog, when they had that faction and they were going against DX and the deviancy of the Wrestling Federation, that was the best promos and the best work Hart ever did, and it's because he believed it. And uh,
Absolutely.
and here,
And that's kind of like one of the things I love about this whole thing is like Brett is like kind of right. He got like fucked over at the Royal Rumble. He was like he should have won basically,
Yep. Yep.
but
Oh yeah.
he kept getting screwed over and kept getting screwed over, and he's right. So like it's like he's got a point, and Stone Cold is representative of all the things that are wrong with WWF. And I think if he beats Stone Cold, he can beat integrity into the WWF. Such a fascinating approach. And Stone Cold is just like you're sitting up there on your perch and you're the cool guy, and I'm just this like little underdog, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of you in front of all these people. And it's like that's all it needs to be, man. It's such a good
Yeah.
story. And these
It
guys
is.
both sell it. As soon as they got in the ring, like the chemistry they have is just ridiculous. Like the flow of the match, the audience was finally awake for like the
Yes.
thing. And you could tell that like the ECW influence, because like one of the first things they do is they go into the crowd, they're brawling up and down stairs. They're like, pulling out ring bells and pulling out steel chairs. And like it's so fascinating because Bret, who you think is like a very traditionalist kind of wrestler, he came up with like a lot of innovative things. In like the ladder match was him. He brought the ladder match to WWF.
Yes.
And he was one of the first people to do a major table spot at Survivor Series 95, where Diesel throws him into the fucking table. Like
That's right.
So as much as he is about the tradition of wrestling, he's not afraid to like bring in some like new things to play with. He's also one of the first people I can remember on television who like called something bullshit, like
Yes.
that promo with Vince. He's just like, this is bullshit. And I'm like, holy God. Like
Yes.
this dude is such an innovator. And I mean, yeah, it's so hard for him to cut like a real promo, but like the dude just knew the business inside and out and could like do so much. And with this match in this time with this card around it, he knew, he's like, we have to go out there. We need to have a killer match. And he's also one of the only wrestlers, Stone Cold said this, that he's one of the only wrestlers he would ever let cut him. So when Stone Cold hits the guardrail, he opens up and starts bleeding, and it's because Bret was the one that like cut his forehead for him.
Yeah.
And like I was like, wow, that's so much trust.
Well, Bret's a professional. Bret is almost too professional. Like he takes this game very serious. I mean, even now, like if you bring up Goldberg or you bring up the screw job, he'll chase you down with a steel chair. But Bret Hart is such a great wrestler. Such a like I really wish he never went to WCW because I think his best years were ahead of him. And unfortunately, he went almost, even though the money was there, he probably would have stayed with Vince for less. But he's as tough guy as he is, he's an emotional guy and he's a loyalty guy. And if he feels that you're disloyal to him, it hurts his feelings. And so, but this match, man, what a great show! It gave birth to Stone Cold, and it solidified Bret Hart as the man. What they both won.
That's exactly what I wrote down. Was like Stone Cold was born in that sharpshooter.
Yes, that image of the bloody face screaming and then passing out. He didn't give up. He is a tough SOB, that Texas rattlesnake. And Bret Hart, wow, what a feud, what a great thing. And yeah, loved it. Great match of the night, easy peasy. Um, and the only real notable thing from this event, although we have two more matches to discuss, you may disagree and say, "Hey, I'm a Ahmed Johnson fan." Yeah, yeah.
Do we have to discuss them?
Oh God. Okay, so we have the well past their expiration date Legion of Doom teaming with Ahmed Johnson against the Nation of Domination. I like that song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, it's just kind of, it gets you in the mode of, hey, these are some badass guys coming out, and they're coming out with a group, PG-13 I think was their name, and also whatchamacallit, Savio Vega was with them, and D'Lo Brown was with them.
Rush.
Oh, Crush too, yeah. What was he doing there?
I don't know. It's supposed to be like a Black Power group. You
Yeah.
know, like it's supposed to be like the Black Panthers or something like that. But like, it's like, oh, and here's this like Hawaiian white dude, and here's this like Puerto Rican wrestler, and and so it's just like, okay, we're kind of diluting what the message of this thing was supposed to be. But they get into a Chicago street fight with Ahmed and LOD, and
Oh
wow, what a
God.
match, huh? What a
Well,
match.
the thing is,
I like Ahmed Johnson. I do.
uh, yep.
I like Ahmed, but I I think I've defended him to you. I was like, hey, he's
Uh-huh.
great, he had great look and everything, but I forgot what he wrestled like. He's fucking awful and he's dangerous.
And his promos, it sounds like he has a dick in his mouth when he talks.
Ugh.
Terrible. Um, we got
Jesus.
then the Legion. I love the Road Warriors. When the Road Warriors were badasses in NWA, I loved them. And then when they came to the WWE, Vince wanted to market them, so he made them like less edgy. They completely lost their edge, and here, like they're not. They're why are you making them faces? They're so much better as like badass heels. And this match just sucks. You do have talent in there. The Road Warriors are talented. Um, uh, Ron Simmons, another great talent that never got a big play in WWF. But this match is shit. And the worst part of the match is Ahmed's fucking ass cheek flying out of his pants halfway through and having to see that big muscular ass cheek through the whole match. Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome. And I would also encourage you, like, I don't know, maybe keep your gaze at eye level. You don't have to look down, Gino. I think we had this discussion during the Karate Kid thing. Like, you don't have to look at the bulge.
Yep. And as I said then, and I'll say now, I'll do what I want. And with Ahmed,
So yeah,
yeah, not
yeah,
good.
LOD pins after they do a double 2x4 clothesline. Although they do hit a double doomsday device, and that was fucking cool.
Well, the PG-13, the guys they hit, they're
Yeah.
known for being good like bump takers, and they proved
Yeah.
it here.
Yeah.
Like that's why they were there. They did their job. And next to Brett and Stone Cold, PG-13 get the nod of the night. They brought it.
The Nation of Domination of the night. Yeah.
Nation of domination.
Domination. All right. Our last match, Sid and Undertaker.
Sid gives another great promo.
For sure.
Poor Sid.
That whole
Like,
shouting and then whispering thing.
you know, but he stumbles, and I feel bad for him because he's so good. If he was just, if he could just get his anxiety together, because I used to love when he would just stand there and goes, don't call me psycho. I don't like it." And I'm like, it's fucking awesome. He's great, but he just he had the look, he had the voice, he just couldn't cut a good promo. Like I'm not sure what was wrong. I think it's anxiety because he'd stumble over his words or
Yeah.
he'd like forget what to say, and you could see it in his face.
Yeah. Do you remember that one where he's like, he goes, I'm trying to. Oh, we need to do this again. And JR's like, we're live, pal.
Live, but yep. Or how about the one where he goes and it's Kevin Nash and Scott Hall in the ring, and he comes out and he goes, "You're half the man I am, and I have half the brain you do," and Nash and Hall lost it. They couldn't stop laughing, and Sid didn't know what he said. It was so funny. Poor Sid. Oh
So
man.
yeah, Brett comes down. He cuts a promo. He gets power bombed. The match slows to a glacial pace.
Yep.
And then Brett comes back down. He distracts Sid, and Undertaker tombstones him, and that's the end of the night. Undertaker's the champion.
Yeah.
Oh, what a match! What a match!
It was yeah. This I guess like I don't know what it would be called a transitional WrestleMania because
For sure.
they were right heading into the Attitude Era, and this was what they had. I mean, they didn't know what to do. Ahmed Johnson was a failed experiment. The Road Warriors were old. They had the tag team four way was a joke. Rocky had no identity. The tag team championship ending in a double countout. They didn't know what the fuck to do with it. Uh, and who's gonna fight Sid? And then I'm not even sure why they had Sid lose the title. He just beat Shawn Michaels. He just beat Bret Hart. Have him hold on to it, but they gave it to Taker. And what a bad WrestleMania, bad show. Um, but who? I don't know if
Although
you
you
know.
do have to admit, Taker doing the kneel pose with the belt was fucking awesome as hell.
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah,
definitely
it was great.
was. Now,
All right,
who
what were you gonna
beat?
say?
Who? Do you know who beat Taker for the title?
Yeah,
Who
Brett
was it?
beats
Oh,
him at
Bret Hart
SummerSlam,
beat him. I did not know that. Okay.
and that takes you right into the screw job.
Oh dear Lord.
Yes.
Well, so we've reviewed WrestleMania 3 and 13, two very
What are
different.
your final thoughts on WrestleMania 13?
Okay. Um, I will say this. Uh Beaver cleavage. They should have stuck with them longer. I was not. The headbangers are okay. Obviously, Bret Hart, Stone Cold is the match of the night. Beyond that, this really has nothing. I like Sid and the Undertaker, but they had no real chemistry in the ring. They're just two big guys. This whole event feels like a glorified house show with one epic match. Bad WrestleMania. I can't think of a much worse one. But
Ooh,
it had
11. 11's pretty bad.
to. What's the main event of 11?
LT Bam Bam.
Oh yes. Yes, yeah. So yeah, that one's bad too. But at least LT had an excuse. He was just a 3 month trained wrestler. But yeah, this is bad. But Bret Hart and Stone Cold, that's what it's about. So overall, a shit show. But I'm glad it's over, I guess.
Well, I love that. I like there are all of these elements in the WWF right now. You got your Triple H, you got Rock, you got Stone Cold, you got Shawn Michaels will be gone within the next year.
Yep.
You have even you get Billy Gunn in there. Like you got all these people who are just like chomping at the bit to become like the huge successes that they will be. And by next year, it's a completely different landscape. Stone Cold is on top, and they ride that wave like for years. And I mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
they go public based on the company goes public based on Stone Cold's success. And so like you see all these things in the thing, but they're anchored down by fucking Psycho Sid at the top of the card and LOD
Uh,
and all these people. And it's like, and even Brett is, I don't know how he would fare in the Attitude Era with all these massive personalities. I don't know how he would do it. But it's just all these combustible elements, and they're all just waiting and waiting. It's just like it's such a
yep.
cool little time in the WWF that like there's so much that's about to happen, and they don't even know it. So
Well,
I thought this WrestleMania was fascinating. It's a terrible WrestleMania, fully
yep.
agree. But like what it is going to propel into the future, all these people propel wrestling to be at its like even higher than Hulkamania, even higher than the
Yep.
80s. Like
Yes.
it's a fascinating time. Like from new gen to Attitude Era when they're still trying to figure everything out. So interesting.
And who would have thought that the Sultan would become Rikishi, another huge star? Um, yeah, crazy stuff. But like you said, all the ingredients were there, but the cake wasn't mixed correctly at that point. So so overall, Erica, I do appreciate WrestleMania 13, the suggestion, because it is nice to have a really good one and a real shit one. But I wish I watched them in the opposite order.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
That's
I
yeah.
my mama didn't raise no fool.
No. Well, we hope everyone enjoyed our trip back down memory lane. when the '80s, when people weren't afraid to wear a mullet and a one of those denim jackets with the white fur, and to the '90s where people were wearing the stonewash jeans and the denim with the white fur because they never went out of style even today. Um, any final thoughts to our listening audience there, sir?
Oh, happy Mania season, everybody, and basically take the rest of the year off from wrestling because it's not going to get good again until the Royal Rumble.
Hell yeah, and
So
then
thank you
likewise,
for listening to our Rumble and Mania rants.
yes, and much love.